The first question on today's docket between us, we this is unscripted, unplanned. Brianna Castillo, realtor extraordinaire, one of my most favorite people in the world, asked me the question: should she send out a weekly report that her team runs when selling a home? And it has all kinds of stuff. So, brief first and foremost, tell me what's on the report. I do know because I looked at it briefly this morning, but what's on the report, and then we'll talk about whether or not we should have it on there and we'll get feedback from people we send this out to see what they think. So what's on the report?
Love it. Yeah. So for clarification, this is a report that we already make. It's not, should we do this report? This is a report that already exists, but right now it's internal. It's a report just for me to help support me when I'm calling my clients and updating them once a week. So what's included on the report, to answer your question, is basically the activity that has happened on the property in the past 7 days since the last time I gave them an update. So that's activity like how many people are viewing your property on Zillow, how many people are saving it on Zillow, how many people are coming across it on our website, how many people are checking out the 3D tour, favoriting the property in the MLS, how many showings that we had. And then we list all of the feedback that we've received there also. My assistant is following up daily after showings have happened to get feedback because that's important to us and
For those
hard to
that don't know, give me an example of feedback. And the feedback from who or whom? I'm
feedback
not.
from the agent that showed the property.
So
So example, like I'm just reading one off of a report right now. It says not interested. Sorry, they did not care for the layout, but the bones are great. Like give us something. What did your client think of
yeah,
this?
price too
Is
high,
that
hated the backyard, ugly colors, fix it, landscape stinks,
yep.
whatever it is, right? Too close to the major street. You're just asking for feedback. So then you, as your team, can obviously have honest feedback, not just your eyes.
Yeah.
You get the eyes of everybody that came through the house. So
Yeah.
just to summarize, a lot of data points that tell you like the activity and what you've done. And your team, I know for a fact, does a ton of stuff. And I think, and again, this is an opinion, so I don't know every realtor out there, but I think more than most, as far as what you guys do to market, to just make sure this is visible. You actually have a network that's not MLS related. Like you actually have a group of folks. I think you told me 38 people are on one text string that all sell within the bubble, and you have multiple strings like that to help. So there's all that intel that you kind of gather and put into one report. So now the big question that you and I have, and I have thoughts, and I don't know which way I would lean. Should or should you not share that report with the sellers every week?
Right.
So let me ask this question. I think the obvious answer is why we should. Tell me why we shouldn't. Why don't you yet at this moment?
Yeah, because I'm just using this to interpret. I'm interpreting it and I feel like it might be hard for a seller to look at this and arrive at a conclusion of what should be done. It might confuse them. There might be too much information. Um, they might, but well, I guess this is interpreting, right? They might look and say, "Oh my goodness, 3 weeks ago we had 6 showings. Last week we had 2 showings, and we've had zero this week. Everything is falling apart." If they're reading it themselves. Where when I'm interpreting it, I can bring it to them and let them know, hey, either this is on par with everything that I'm seeing in the market and what I know from all the other listings that I have, or we had zero showings this week because it's 11 degrees below zero, and that's not normal here. And everybody's freaking out. When it's just cold data on the page, they're not able to interpret it. They need me to interpret it. But here's the thing. I would never send it without my interpretation. Sometimes I'm sending them an email, and sometimes I'm recording a video like this, giving them my thoughts and feedback. My question really is should I attach it with that? Because
You nailed
it's
it.
more
I agree.
impressive.
I agree with what you said, which is, I think first of all, do they know this exists? Like during a listing presentation, do they know that you do this? That to me is one of the most important questions. Do they know you do
It's a
all of that?
great question. No. Unless
So
they ask about
massive,
what is their
massive
communication
mistake
going
in
to
my
look like. Yeah.
massive. I'm going to give you one of these. Like if I had a sad trombone sound effect right now, I'd be doing the wah wah wah. Like it's unbelievable how much you and I do as professionals, right? So me on the mortgage side,
Yes.
you real estate side, it's amazing how much stuff we do. And some people call it like the duck effect. Like on top surface, cool, calm, and collect. On the bottom, the feet are just going crazy and doing all kinds of work. I think first and foremost, if I were you, I would put together a really slick just sample so that you can show that as part of your listing presentation. And I agree with you that you say, look, this is something our team does weekly. Um, let me moonwalk on that real quick. I do think you need to show that you do it, because again, it shows how much you do more than most, right? So if they are considering you versus somebody else, they'd understand just how much you and your team do. But I agree with you 1,000,000%. And that was my thought to say, man, you should. But then I'm like, hold on, people will interpret this differently. They can think that 8 showings is not great. Like, what do you mean only got 8? Holy smokes, in this market, like, congratulations, 8's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think there's an importance to say, and I take it back. I wouldn't show this report, but I do think you need to show or demonstrate that this is data that's being collected, analyzed, reviewed, proactively, analyzed by you every single, almost daily, but really once a week at least. Do you do structured phone calls every week, or is it more just the email or the video update?
It's the email video update.
I think a video update, I would absolutely say, guys, I'm going to give you this data, maybe not all at once, because sometimes, 1 week of Zillow, who cares? So
Right.
I'll bring Zillow up, but this is the data we do. And so maybe that's how you present it, is you do a little neat infographic where it's obvious it's not the report, right? But it's got all the fluffy stuff, but it's got all the things that say, here's what we do and collect. And once a week, and I think it has to be video update, Bria. I'd never do just a text email. I would always make sure it's you giving your opinion, your inflection, your interpretation to say, look, this is awesome. I know 8 doesn't seem great, but guys, Monday was a holiday, because it was this week. Monday's a holiday. It was -7-degree wind chill in Dallas, Fort Worth. That's not normal. Some schools were closed. 2 of them are already closed for tomorrow, which is crazy. And so that way, 3 showings this week, actually pretty amazing. I'm sure people showed up, right? And then the next week, when you have enough sample data, you show them what you want, because what you don't want, good and bad, right? You're not trying to spin this any other way. You're just trying to present accurate information. I do think the feedback, I would copy paste and put that in your email. I think the feedback is, it's honest, it's raw, it's not you. It shows that there's no interpretation needed. This is word for word, verbatim what they gave us. I think that's huge. But I don't think all the data points are necessary, because it doesn't matter week over week. What matters is month over month, or what the activity is and where it spurs from. So I think one is acknowledge that you do it. Part of sales presentation, I would make it to where it's more fluffy and obvious, not this is the report. And then 2, do your videos every week. And you can certainly have them transcribed, or write your email text, or in case somebody's too busy or just doesn't care. Because sometimes I just don't, like, if it's me, Caroline's going to read it, and I'm just say, I don't care. Is the house sold or not sold? Right. So I think that's the other part. And don't let somebody read too much into the data. I agree with not just giving it to them. I don't think that's helpful. So thoughts? Agreed?
No, that's great. That's great.
Cool.
I
All
agree.
right. So knock this question out. Thanks for joining us. See you later.